Hello, my name is Brooke Peterson. I live in Tucson, Arizona, and I'm very excited to tell you about my protocol superhero, Letitia Baldridge. When I was a 16-year-old student touring Washington, D.C., I bought Miss Baldridge's book called In the Kennedy Style. It was the beginning of an obsession with the style of the Kennedy administration, orchestrated in large part by Letitia Baldridge. During her time as social secretary, she was instrumental in revolutionizing White House entertaining and raising the prestige of the country around the world, highlighting our cultural achievements through glamorous events held during the administration. Ms. Baldridge served in the United States embassies in Rome and Paris in post-war Europe, navigating the protocol and etiquette requirements of official entertaining. She proved so competent that Mrs. Kennedy appointed her social secretary when her husband was elected in 1960. I'm a trained historian, so what I admire about Miss Baldridge is her ability to include historically and culturally significant details in the entertainment she organized under the direction of Mrs. Kennedy. At a politically sensitive time when the United States worked hard to prevent the spread of communism in the West, Mrs. Baldridge worked with the Chief of Protocol and others at the State Department to entertain heads of state. The style of entertaining in the Kennedy White House set a new standard for future administrations. There were 3 events that she coordinated that I think were particularly significant. A state dinner that highlighted the revolutionary roots of the United States was held at George Washington's Mount Vernon in 1961 in honor of the President of Pakistan. The candlelit dinner set a new precedent as the first state dinner to be held outside the White House. The Pakistanis recently received their independence, also from the British, and this similarity was driven home by a performance from the Fife and Drum Corps resplendent in Revolutionary War uniforms. After weeks of navigating hurdles including transportation, electricity, plumbing, and mosquitoes, Miss Baldridge fulfilled Mrs. Kennedy's oft-repeated phrase, "Of course it can be done." Mrs. Kennedy and Miss Baldridge planned a dinner for Nobel Prize winners in 1962 that announced to the rest of the world that our young country did indeed value cultural and scientific endeavors. President Kennedy said of this group, "I think this is the most extraordinary collection of talent and of human knowledge that has ever been gathered together at the White House, with the possible exception of when Thomas Jefferson dined alone." An evening that Miss Baldridge remembers particularly fondly, and one of my personal favorites, is the concert given by Pablo Casals. A world-renowned cellist, Casals had refused to play in the United States since it had recognized the dictator Franco in Spain. His decision to play for the Kennedys was another signal to the world of our country's growing prestige. Miss Baldridge handled the logistics of this politically sensitive occasion beautifully. I think the thing I most admire about Miss Baldridge is her approach to everyday etiquette and protocol. After leaving the White House, she became the author of multiple etiquette books, teaching Americans how to behave in daily scenarios, in business settings, and at weddings. She was consulted by many later presidential administrations and social secretaries. She said to them, "You are the visible face of the White House, President, and First Lady. You have to be kind to people." I believe that should be a guiding principle for anyone involved in the protocol and etiquette fields. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present my ideas and for your consideration for this very generous scholarship.